Hello, everybody. David Nosal of NGS Global here. Today's topic was sent in over the last couple of months by a number of individuals talking about leadership and leadership capabilities. And I want to just free flow a little bit on some of my observations over 30 plus years in executive search. Some of it was shaped on my own experience coming up through the two largest executive search firms in the world, but also from the many CEO and C-suite level searches that I've done over the years. And I'm going to use the title Leaders Lead in this discussion. What do I mean by that? Many years ago, when I was at one of the two largest firms in the world and running a big piece of the Americas for that firm, I had an individual, a partner who had been with that same firm for years, approach me about being a vertical leader in one of the practices. And again, that individual had been part of the firm for 14, 15 years, senior partner by title, and there was a vacancy in that specific vertical. And he came into my office one day and he said, David, I'd like to be the leader of this practice. It's been open for 3 or 4 months, and I'd like you to go to bat for me in supporting this. And I remember looking at him and saying, and for the sake of this discussion, I'll call him Jim. Jim, look, there are about 18 people globally in that practice, and there's a lot that needs to happen in that practice. But what I've seen is there hasn't been one individual in that practice who has stepped up to create momentum around the strategy and execution within that practice. Leaders lead, Jim. That means you don't have to have the title of leader of a practice to lead. What are you doing? What have you shown that group of individuals that inspires them to follow your direction in that specific vertical? And, you know, when he peeled the onion back a little bit and he thought about it, he realized that for the last 2 to 3 years, he hadn't really done anything. He had done a lot as an individual to help his own practice, but he didn't do anything as a leader to help and inspire others. So leaders lead. In business, where I see the most effective CEOs are those individuals who came up through typically 2 or 3 organizations, where in each case, whether they had, if you will, the title or not, they were viewed as effective leaders. They inspired others. They helped others. They thought through complex business problems, not just in their own, if you will, functional area of expertise as they were coming up, but also across the board. They sat with others, encouraged others, provided their own ideas and inputs. They sat in meetings in the C-suite and really it wasn't all about their position, you know, it's my way or the highway. It was always about what's the best solution for the organization. They did not drive their ego into these conversations. They worked with others, through others. They were great recognizers of talent. Leaders know talent. Leaders hire people who are as good, if not better than they are often. The best CEOs I know, and when I say best, most effective leaders that I know are leaders who put talent first and foremost. They want to surround themselves with individuals who can really exceed at what they do, but they also recognize that they need to play well in a sandbox with others. Think about this. If you're a CEO and you really want the best and brightest minds, you want them to be able to work cross-functionally, cross-regionally, working with others to make decisions and impact decisions that are going to impact that business. They don't want individuals who are all about themselves. We've all seen it. Man, I've done more search work for CEOs and boards who have said, look, Tom, Mary, Mike, Sue, you name it, are great in certain ways. The company's doing well, but what they're not doing is inspiring the others around them. Where leaders fail, it is typically because they do not gain the trust, the confidence of the individuals around them. Now, sometimes they have the wrong individuals. Of course, you've got to make the changes necessary there. But don't fail because you haven't recognized what you need to do as a leader to make things happen in your organization. Look, when it's tough times, you don't disappear into your office. You pull people together. In fact, you pull people together more often than not. If you can get together face to face, that's the key. If you can get on a Zoom or a Teams or whatever it is, but leaders need to be visible. So often I hear from C-suite executives who say their CEO does not walk around. They do not get out into the business. They do not travel out into the operations. I know a couple of leaders, and I won't name them here, who are constantly on a plane, 60% or more, getting out into the operations, meeting with their leaders in different parts of the world. That is leadership. You can't manage from behind a desk. Also, when it comes to succession, look, at some point, there's only one person at the top. And there are a lot of different cases of organizations that have had 2 or 3 or 4 great leaders right under that CEO. It's always tough to develop a cadre of candidates who are able to step into your role. But in addition to broadly recognizing how talent impacts your organization, a CEO really needs to be focused on succession. They owe it to themselves. They owe it to the companies they're in. They owe it to their shareholders to make sure they have 1 or 2, at a minimum, strong leaders who could step into their role at any time. Look, nobody rarely stays in the CEO role forever. There are a few exceptions to that, of course. But whether that CEO gets recruited out to another platform, whether or not they retire, whether or not something unfortunate happens, the right leader always takes the time, makes the time to find the right individuals who are going to be able to step up into their shoes should something happen. That's a great leader. Leaders lead every day. They don't, unfortunately, CEOs don't have the luxury of taking a lot of time off. It's a lonely job sitting at the top. I have a lot of conversations with CEOs around the world talking about, it's a lonely role. It really is. However, lean in, take responsibility, build your teams with strong leaders underneath you. Require that those same leaders build the next level of succession underneath them. So recognizing talent, developing that talent, retaining that talent, inspiring that talent, that's the job of the CEO, of the best leaders in the world. They're awesome at it, and their companies typically perform at the highest levels on a regular basis. And at the end of the day, those are the CEOs that are sought after for additional operating opportunities, for board assignments, et cetera, et cetera. So I hope this is helpful. Just a couple of perspectives from an old goat who's been around the block for 30 plus years in the world of search. If you found this helpful, terrific. If you have any other suggestions, ideas that you'd like me to cover, just highlight in the comments section below, and I'd be delighted to tackle any topic that's of interest to you. Wishing you all the best. Cheers.